What's happening, everyone? Steve here, Cars with Steve, and today we're taking a quick look at the 2021 Ford Explorer ST. Now, this is a shorter video if you're looking for something a little bit more in depth, talking about all the technology, how to add a phone, Sync 3, how to set up Android Auto, Apple Carplay, things like that. Check the description down below in order to find that more in-depth look at the vehicle. Before we get started, I want to thank you as always for helping us support the channel. And what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. First two people that comment, I'm going to give you a $10 Amazon gift card. So comment down below and make sure that you give the video a like and consider subscribing with the bell notifications on, because once I get to 5,000 subscribers, going to be giving away an exotic car driving experience or two. It's going to be an exciting time. But guys, let's dive right into it and see what the 2021 Ford Explorer ST has to offer. Taking a quick peek at the key fob, so nice look to it there along the back. In the front, we've got our unlock and our lock button. Remote start, which we can remote start the vehicle directly through the key fob or through our cell phone. We've got the ability to open up the trunk there. Now it is a foot activated liftgate, and we also do have our panic or our horn alarm button there. But absolutely beautiful look to it. Now, when it comes down to standard technology inside of the Explorer ST, we do have our reverse sensing system. We've got our backup camera. From there, as part of the Ford Co-Pilot 360 package, we also do have our blind spot system. Lets us know if anybody's entered the blind spot on either side of the vehicle. And then there also is the lane keeping system. So lane keeping, lane centering can help keep us in our lane. Very, very nice. Now, one thing about the Explorer ST, so actually I should say the Explorer lineup, when you look at the Limited and above, we also do have the forward sensing system. And then we've also got our camera for that full 360 view, which means that this vehicle does have that full 360 camera, which is an incredible look inside of this thing. The Explorer ST only has one available engine choice. It's a 3-liter twin-turbo engine, which we're looking at here. From a power perspective, it's able to push out 400 horsepower and 415 foot-pounds of torque. So plenty of power underneath the hood of this thing, but really, really nice. Now, one of the interesting things about the Explorer ST is that this engine is on par with the Lincoln Aviator. So there is another video coming out shortly that talks about the difference between the Aviator versus the Explorer ST. If that video is available, check down in the description below in order to find it. I absolutely love the look of this thing. We've got the ST badging there, a beautiful honeycomb grille. I love the light setup. We've got our fog lamps underneath there as well. So really, really nice look. And look at those tires. Absolutely beautiful. Now, this one does have the ST Street Pack, which is why we do have those larger 21-inch tires there. As we can see there, we do have a Class 3 tow setup. So the Explorer ST has the ability to tow up to 5,600 pounds. And as you can see there, we do have all of our connectors along the back as well. Now, basic technology-wise, this thing does have a foot-activated power liftgate, so all you're going to do is just pass your foot underneath and take a step back. As you can see there, power up. Really, really nice. Oh, let's take a peek in the back. So taking a look there, this one does have that 3-row. So if we do need a 6 or 7 seat configuration, you've got the ability to do that. Now, as we start to look down, as you can see there, we've got a little tray, which it can be used for storage. You also can just store this tray right underneath if you need a little bit more space there. Taking it out completely, let's throw it in the back seat for a second. Oh, in you go. All right, now a couple other things to point out. These things are removable, but as you can see there, we do have the option to add a couple things, so a little bit of storage along the side. And if we pop these things out for a second, we can look underneath in order to get access to our mini spare tire. The third row is power down. So power down, power up for the third row, which is really, really great. We do have the ability to either fold the seats down independently, or we can press the button in order to fold them down simultaneously. On top of that, as you can see there, we do have our 12-volt adapter. So we do have our traditional cigarette lighter adapter in the back. Look at that cargo dimensions, a ton of cargo space there, which is incredible. And as I mentioned, you can fold the seats up individually, so if you prefer to have one seat up over the other, you've got the capabilities to do that. Filling up the tank, it is on the driver's side, so as you can see there, we're just going to press that in order to open it up, and it is a capless system, so we're just going to insert the hose in, fill up, and once you're done, all you're going to do is click and lock it back into place. Now, from a fuel perspective, you don't need to use a premium fuel inside of this vehicle either. In order to get those true horsepower and torque specs, yes, you should use a premium fuel, but minimum manufacturer's recommendation is just your regular 87 octane, so just your regular gas. Now, when it comes down to different configuration options inside of the vehicle, so we do have the ability to set it up as a 6 or a 7-seater. The one that we're looking at here is the 6-seater, so we have the dual captain's chairs with a little console in the middle there. Now we do have the option, as I mentioned, for the bench, which would give us a 3rd seat there, which is really nice setup. But in order to get to the back of this thing, couple different things to consider. If you only need a 4, 5, or a 6-seater, get the dual captain's chairs because it's easier to pass through to the back. But if you need that bench seat, or even if you want a different way to get into the back, we've got the ability to press this button along the top, and that's going to power fold the seat, and we can bring this thing forward a little bit in order to easily get into the back seat. Okay, now a couple things to consider. This seat is set up for somebody who's 6 feet tall, and so is the driver's seat. But as you can see there, I still do have a decent amount of knee room and a little bit of foot room as well. These seats, you can move them back or forward as necessary. Basic technology-wise, there's not much back in the 3rd row. We do have our cup holders along the back, and that's really about it. Now, looking inside of the 2nd row of the vehicle, so the seat itself is set up for somebody who's 6 feet tall, and I still do have a bit of knee room here. Now, we do have the ability, just underneath my legs there, we can move the seat forwards and backwards a little bit more, but obviously as we do that, we lose a little bit more space in that 3rd row. So really depending on how much knee room you need there. But it is good to know that if you need more seating space, I should say, for taller passengers, you've got the capability to move that 2nd row back or forward a little bit more. Technology-wise, there are a few things in the back of this thing. So as we start to move down, we've got the ability to control our fan speed. We can control the heat, so whether it's hot or cold, we can turn it off completely, whether it's going to our face or our feet. And as we start to move down, we've also got our USB ports, so our USB and our USB-C, as well as our traditional wall outlet. So if you need to plug something in, you've got the capability to do that. Now, one other thing to point out is that this vehicle also does have heated seats. So heated 2nd row seats. When it comes down to it, in the Explorer, you have to look at the limited or above in order to get those heated 2nd row seats. Now, when you do, it's going to just be the captain's chairs, so these 2 seats that are going to be heated. If you get the bench seat, so that 3rd seat in the middle there, that bench seat will not be heated. It's strictly going to be both sides there. We've got a few hooks along the top there. We've got a button that we can press in order to turn on our lighting, and we've also got our cabin air, so we've got the ability to select where that's going. We can close it off completely. Another thing to point out, just along the door there, as you can see, we've got the ability to put up a sunshade, so really useful on those bright days. Lift that up and over. Now, styling wise, I like the look of this thing. Now, this does have the black, so the ebony seats. That's the only seating choice that's available in the Explorer ST. But as you can see there, we've got a nice aluminum look along the back doors. Door handle, very straightforward. And then we also do have our window adjusting button for the back row. One other thing to point out is we also do have these pockets, which is useful if you're going to be storing some things. Now, as I mentioned, the 2nd row, we do have the option either for a bench or a console. If you get the console, it's not much to write home about. A little bit of storage space. We've got a few cup holders there also. Looking along the driver's door, so we do have a beautiful spun aluminum look. I love the look and the setup of this. It's nice and simple. As you can see there, we've got a Bang & Olufsen sound system inside of the Explorer ST. Along the top, we've got our door handle, very straightforward. We've got our seat profile, so our memory. Really useful, especially if you have multiple drivers inside of the vehicle. Now, one of the nice things about these profiles is that it'll remember the side view mirrors, it'll remember the power adjustable steering wheel, and it's also going to remember your settings for the driver's seat. So really useful. All you do is set up your driver's seat, set up your steering wheel, set up your side view mirrors, and then press one of these buttons on hold for a few seconds in order to be able to set up your custom profile. As we start to move down, as you can see, we've got power folding side view mirrors. We can open and close those up, the ability to kill off power to those rear windows, and then we've got the ability to adjust our side view mirrors, and then our basic window control buttons. As we start to move inside the vehicle, we've got the ability to open up our trunk. We've got our fog lamps as well as our daytime, or I should say running lamp settings, so we can have them off, on, auto, etc. And then we've got a screen dimmer switch along the side. Now, as I mentioned, the steering wheel itself is telescopic, so we can move it in, out, up, and down. As we start to move down on the Explorer there, as you can see, we've got a few seat adjustment buttons, and it is power for the driver and passenger seat. But one of the nice things is that not only do we have lumbar support inside of this thing, we also do have massage chair seats. Oh yeah, now that's massage chair seats for the first row driver and passenger seats. From a seat perspective, as we can see there, we do have the ebony seat, which is the only interior choice for the Explorer ST. But as you can see, you can just kind of make out the ST stitching the badging there, which is really nice, gives it a nice touch. All right, now hopping inside of this thing. Now, a few things to consider. This one does have the premium technology package, which does give us this larger Sync 3 screen. Now, the Explorer ST in the 2021 is still on Sync 3. Unfortunately, don't have a Sync 4 upgrade as of yet, but hopefully that does come soon. Now, a couple things, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay capabilities. If you want to figure out how to set that up, a link should be showing up now. But really nice look to this thing. I love the big bright screen. This is crazy. It kind of almost reminds me of the screen in the Mach-E. It's pretty big. Now, the only difference is that the Mach-E doesn't have all of these extra buttons, but basic technology perspective, we've got a ton of different options there. So this one, as you can see, does have factory navigation, but as I mentioned, we can run off of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. We do physically have to be connected through a wire in order to do that. Hopefully Sync 4 comes in 2022, and that'll give us wireless capabilities, but we're not there yet. We do have our home, our audio settings, basics for our phone, so we can easily add in multiple phones if we need to. Factory navigation, we've got basic apps. Now, one of the nice things about some of these apps is that some of them will work directly through the middle screen for your phone. So things like LiveX Live, Spotify will work directly through that middle screen. You also do have the option, if you don't want to use factory navigation, you can run off of either Waze, Google Maps, or Apple Maps directly through this middle screen. So it's really great. Basic settings, there are a ton of settings there. Another message is going to pop up on screen that's going to go through the basics, a lot more advanced, I should say, of how all of this stuff works, but just giving you the Coles Notes version. As you can see, basic driver assistance settings there. Guess it helps if I press the button. We've got adaptive cruise control, so either normal, adaptive, or intelligent cruise. There is a lane keeping system, so we can turn that on or off just on the left-hand side of the steering wheel. Pre-collision assist, so if the vehicle senses a potential collision, it'll actively brake and then take over the steering wheel in order to avoid or minimize the impact of a collision. Blind spot system, so as pointing out earlier, lets you know if anybody's entered the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, and that's just going to highlight orange whenever somebody's entered the blind spot there. Now, one of the nice things is that this thing also does have that trailer blind spot system. So not only is it going to check the blind spot of your vehicle, but also of a trailer if you've entered the dimensions. So very useful there, and then a few other basics. As we start to move back, we've got a lot of other options for our vehicle. Ambient light, we've got valet mode, and then as I mentioned, we also do have our seats, which give us the massage chair seats. So really useful for those longer distance drives, and it is a very nice touch of luxury. We've got different different massage modes that are available inside of this thing as well, and then different intensity levels. We can just adjust in order to turn that off. So very nice setup there. As we start to move down the screen, so a few things to point out. We do have our volume rocker, so we can adjust the volume. Oh, that's a nice song. Hopefully that doesn't get flagged by YouTube. All right, from there, we've also got the ability to select between whatever song or radio station's currently going on. This is going to kill off that beeping that we get as we start to back up, four-way blinkers, and then this beautiful 360 camera. So the camera actually works a few different ways, so we've got a beautiful 360 setup. We can press the button there for a front partial view or a front 180-degree view, so stitched together view, which is very useful, especially if you're pulling out of underground parking, things like that. Hotkey in order to get rid of that. As we start to move down, we've got our max window defroster. Now, this one here, we've got a button that we can hot press in order to pick up our air distribution, so whether it's going to our windshield, face, or feet, but for whatever reason, they have included another button there, which the only difference is that also includes dual. So I think I don't think that both buttons are necessary, so if you're wondering what the difference is between the two of them, it's just going to be the difference of whether or not that dual button shows up or not. We can turn off power to the fan if we need to, turn on our air conditioner, max air conditioner, and we also do have dual zone climate control. So if somebody likes it a little bit colder, a little bit hotter, etc., we can turn that on individually. Moving down, we can let the vehicle determine what the cabin temperature should be. We've also got our rear window defroster. Basic menu button again, and then our rear console control. So the rear console control means that we can control the rear climate there. So we can adjust the fan speed, we can make sure that we can lock it out so that people in the back can adjust it, especially if you have kids that are fighting. So it's very useful. One other thing to point out, our front seats, so our dual captain chairs in the front have heated and cooled seats, which really nice. On top of that, we also do have a heated steering wheel, which does warm up very quickly, and it is a heated steering wheel all the way around. Now we're on that for a second. Look at the beauty of this thing. I love it. It's a beautiful leather wrap steering wheel with the ST logo, which is right on the bottom. So love the look of it. Back to the console there as we start to move down. As you can see there, we do have a few things. So big one, we've got our USB and our USB-C, as well as a traditional cigarette lighter adapter. Now, one of the nice things that Ford thought about inside of this vehicle also is that we also do have a cell phone holder. So as you can see there, we can just pop our phone in there. So very, very useful. Now, one person did point out that if you get those larger phablet style phones, like I think it was the Samsung S20 Ultra, that big one, it may not fit. It might be a little bit too big to fit inside of this thing, but moving down a little bit more, we do have a wireless charging pad along the back if your phone supports it. On top of that, as you can see, we have a few cup holders, and we've got a rotary dial in order to change gears. So our park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then our manual mode, so the M mode. The vehicle itself is actually equipped with paddle shifters, so our minus and plus buttons, which is going to give us better control over what gear we're in as we're driving. As we start to move down, a few other things to point out. We've got our parking brake, our auto hold setting. So the auto hold, what that's going to do is if we come to a stop completely and take our foot off the brake, with this enabled, the vehicle won't move. So really, really neat. We've got the auto hold setting. So if we're stopped for an extended period of time, the engine may kill power. You can turn that one off. There is park assist. So really, really nice thing about park assist is that it can help out with not only parallel parking out, it can help out with parallel parking as well as perpendicular parking. So really, really useful system there. And then by using our blinker, we have the ability to select whether it's going to the right or the left side that we look at. So really, really useful if you're going to be looking at the left-hand side of the vehicle instead. And all we're going to do is just one button press in order to get rid of that. From there, we've got traction control. We can turn that on or off. And then we've also got the hill descent control. From there, we've got different drive modes that are available. So basic drive modes, we've got normal, eco, sport, and then our tow haul. And then back along the other way, there's also slippery, trail, and then our deep snow and sand, which is going to change the drivetrain. As you can see there, deep snow and sand also turned off traction control automatically. And then as you can see, it tweaks the look of the screen. So I love the look of what Ford has done with this. It just gives it a different look, a different feel. I personally think it looks absolutely stunning what they've done with this thing. Really, really cool. And that's going to be the basics of these settings. And then from there, we've also got a little bit of storage space underneath. Now, as I mentioned, the steering wheel here is heated inside of the ST, and it's heated all the way around, which is nice. Couple things about the vehicle. As we look at the steering wheel, we also do have adaptive cruise control, so we can easily set that system. We can turn it on or off, very straightforward. From there also is a lane keeping and lane centering system. It works 3 different ways. Way number 1, if you start to veer over into a lane without signaling, it'll give you a little bit of a steering wheel shake, almost as if you're running over rumble pavement. Way number 2 is if you start veering over without signaling, the vehicle will actually take over the steering wheel and it'll pull you back into your lane and recenter you in your lane. From there, the third option is a mixture of both. So it'll give you a steering wheel shake and it'll recenter you, pulling you back into your lane. From there, we've got some basic volume control settings. We can mute our audio. And we've also got basic screen settings. So we do have the ability to tweak out a few things. Now the lane keeping system is on, and when it is, this is the default layout we're looking at. By turning the system off by pressing this button, watch what happens. Our speedometer moves over into the center there, and then it tweaks a few things on the side of the screen showing us what audio settings are currently going. So I wish that we could kind of adjust the screen a little bit more. We don't have a ton of options as of yet, but hopefully in a future release of the software, that will change. As we start to move down the steering wheel, we've got the ability to change stations or songs. We can hang up on a phone call, answer a phone call, or we've got our voice button. So our voice button is a really neat one. We can use that in order to change radio stations. So we can tune using the knob, sure, we can direct tune, or we can use our voice in order to change stations. We also have the ability to make a phone call by pressing this button, and we can also navigate to certain locations by pressing this button also. From there, as we start to look at our left turning stick, so as you can see there, this is going to be the one that controls the blinker, and then we can do a quick high beam flash. Now, one thing to point out is that the vehicle is equipped with auto high beams. So what will happen is if the vehicle senses that it's too dark out, it'll automatically flip on your high beams for you. And then what will happen is if it recognizes an oncoming vehicle, it'll slowly dim them before turning them off completely. So very, very smart from that perspective. The vehicle also is equipped with rain sensing wipers, so we've got the ability to adjust how sensitive they are when rain hits the windshield. And we've also got a rear wiper, so we can turn that rear wiper on very easily. So you can see they're going very, very straightforward. And we're just going to pull in towards us to work the front windshield, push away for those rear. If you've got a garage door opener at home, you've got the ability to easily program the codes in from there. You've also got sunglasses holder, our cabin light controls, all cabin lights on. Can make sure that they don't come on with the door open, etc. Now the vehicle itself is equipped with a beautiful twin panel sunroof. It's a really, really nice look on that one there. We've got the ability to open it up just as a short little vent, so if you just want to vent the vehicle out, or we can completely open that sunroof up instead. Well folks, that was a quick look at the 2021 Ford Explorer. What did you think? Drop down your comments or any suggestions you have for future videos down below. And until I see you next time, make sure you stay safe.